Hello and welcome to the 15th episode of the PS Premiere podcast. I'm your host, James Smith, and today I'm joined by Dory.
Hello. Yeah. Hi, I'm Dory. I go by she, her pronouns, and believe it or not, I'm dressed up as Butterfree right now. Free.
So that is not your natural hair color.
No, in fact, it is not. In fact, I'd love this actually to be my natural hair color. I've thought about dyeing my hair lilac before, but I just don't have the guts to do it.
Right. And Mitch?
Hello, I am Mitch.
Enthusiastic as always.
Pretty obvious what. Yes, I think it's pretty obvious what I'm dressed up as. Thwip, mate.
But for the audio listeners, you are dressed up as.
Oh, yes,
Spider-Man.
because we do have listeners. I am currently dressed up in a full bodysuit of Spider-Man, and it is about as comfortable as you could think it would be.
Great. Seb?
Hey, I'm Sebastian. Happy Halloween, everybody. I hope you all had a great week. I'm dressed up as Leonardo from Ninja Turtles, obviously. And yeah, we're gonna have a most excellent podcast. So you can follow me at LittleSeb93.
Yeah, so I'm the only person here who's not dressed up, which I didn't think that was going to be the case. I didn't think everyone was going to dress
You're
up,
the
but I
average
guess here we are.
You're the
I'm
average
the guy
consumer.
who hates Halloween, so there you go. I just want to point out before we go any further that next week, I was going to leave this till the end, but I guess I'll point it out now in case anyone decides not to listen to the end. Next week, we're going to have a really special episode that's not going to be numbered. We're going to have an award show for the whole PlayStation 4 generation, and we're going to give out some awards to all our favorite games for stuff like Game of the Generation, Best Score, that sort of thing, as well as a bunch of smaller ones. Maybe we'll have some fun with it. We'll do some more humorous awards. We're going to get Marvel in to do some comedy, and yeah, so that's going to be a lot of fun. So I hope everyone checks that out when that goes live. I'm doing a lot of work towards that for editing and that sort of thing. So hopefully it pays off. Other than that, Dory, what have you been playing this week?
Hi. Yeah, I've been playing. Let's see. I finished Resident Evil 7 recently. Thought it was really good. For the most part, I had some issues with enemy variety and some enemy types. And I don't really feel motivated to play it again, but I'm going to dive into the DLC and extra content eventually. And then besides that, I've also been playing. I've been testing some stuff for my Extra Life stream, which is happening on Sunday. So I played a little bit of Kingdom Hearts 1 and 2 and 3 today, just to make sure that they stream properly.
Real quick, just where can people check out your Extra Life stream?
Yeah, so Extra Life streams, this one is going to be on Twitch, twitch.tv/declare192. And I am going to be streaming Kingdom Hearts 1, 2, and 3 back to back to back. There'll be donation incentives for people if they want to up the difficulty, or if they want me to make me tell my partner that I love her for $5, I will do it. It's very silly. I picked very silly awards, and then towards the end, the final tier is me singing karaoke style all of the Kingdom Hearts openers back to back for $100. Just very silly awards. Not taking it very seriously, but I'm very excited to do it.
I would love to see you sing every Disney song. Every time you go into Disney World, you got to sing one of the songs.
I should make that a donation incentive. Maybe I'll put it in like a little wedge. But anyway, so
go ahead.
I've been testing that a little bit, and then I don't really know what else I've been playing. I don't think I've had a ton of time between school and everything else. But I did finish up RE7, and I've been meaning to get back to Plague Tale, but I haven't been able to yet.
Great. Mitch, what about you? What have you been playing?
Oh god, what have I been playing? I've been playing a bit more of Ghost of Tsushima. Been playing a bit more of Ghost of Tsushima. I think I'm partway through Act 2, and I think last week on Twitter I was kind of like debating as to like how it could get better, but no, it's definitely gotten better right now. And I've also been getting into Assassin's Creed Syndicate, the other Ubisoft open world game set in London. And and I forgot how much fun I had with it until literally right this morning. I found out that it's not going to be backwards compatible on the PS5 for some reason. So
yeah, that is bizarre. I guess that's the 1% of games that's not going to be backwards compatible.
Yeah, weirdly enough.
Yep. Seb, what about you? What have you been playing? Right?
I platted Vampire finally. I've been playing Ghostbusters. I've been playing Doom Eternal. I've been playing Half-Life Alyx again, and I've been playing Luigi's Mansion 3. So I'm playing a lot of games this week.
That's a good one.
Yeah.
That was my first Luigi's Mansion I ever played. I played with my partner.
Oh, really?
And it's a very cute game.
Yes.
Very cute game.
And the first
I also want to comment that Mitch reminded me that I've been playing a ton of Legends lately, off and on with people from the MinMax community. So that's also what I've been playing.
Yep.
Great. I've been playing Ghostrunner. That's pretty much the only thing I've been playing this past week, which is the flavor of the month. Well, not the flavor of the month, I should say, the flavor of the week. No, it's not even that, because Watch Dogs Legion came out. None of us have been playing that. I think Fran is playing that, but he's not here at the moment.
Yep.
So yeah, I've been playing Ghostrunner. It's this sort of Katana Zero. If you ever played Katana Zero, that 2D indie game.
Yeah.
It's kind of like, it's pretty much Katana Zero, but a first person Mirror's Edge kind of thing.
I was going to say Mirror's Edge was the other game that came to mind when I saw it. Yeah.
Yeah, it's definitely kind of Mirror's Edge-y, but it doesn't have as much weight to it, to the movements, because it's more focused on combat and being like a ninja and that sort of thing.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, but it's actually, I'm surprised how good it is, because it's in that sort of AA space, right? And I played the demo a while ago, and the demo was okay. It was pretty fun, but like that was on Steam, but on PS4, once you get the grappling hook, it gets really, really fun, because it's one of those things where you use the grappling hook and it just feels so fast, like you're moving through the stages and you're just cutting through enemies one after the other in like a second. But it's sort of like I said, it's like Katana Zero, where if you die, you respawn instantly at the start of a very sort of short checkpoint system, where there's a checkpoint every 5 seconds.
Mm-hmm.
And you start again. It's just like rinse and repeat, go over and over again until you get it right, until you figure out what to do. And the combat, sort of the way the combat is designed, really sort of lends itself to that, because there's like there's multiple different sort of ways you can approach each combat situation. Like they give you multiple routes that you can go around the level where the enemies are placed. So if something's not working, you can try something else, and it's just a matter of like trial and error until you get it right.
Yeah,
but then there's also
go ahead.
the parkour, which I'm not as hot on.
Yeah.
Yeah, because the parkour, it's sort of it's fun because there's wall running and that sort of thing, and obviously, like I said, the grappling hooks. But there's sort of stages that are dedicated to parkour with no enemies in them, and the checkpoints aren't as common in those, so you go longer without checkpoints, and it's a little finicky because it kind of feels like, and I should say I've only played about an hour of the game so far, but in those sort of parkour stages, it kind of feels like they tried to make it difficult by making some of the jumps that you have to make and that sort of thing like particularly long, and it's just frustrating when you try to make a jump but you just don't quite make it. You have to angle yourself a certain way, so that's not entirely very fun. But I think the combat more than sort of makes up for it.
It's giving me serious Doom Eternal vibes.
Yes, yeah,
that's the thing. Like
because that's exactly what Doom Eternal does to also break up the monotony of combat.
Yeah.
So when it was like first revealed, and I saw the reveal trailer for it, I think that's what I said. I think it was like, I said it looked like a cross between Doom and Katana Zero, which is pretty much what it is. Although there isn't as much Doom in there as I would have assumed.
Mm-hmm.
It is more like for the fact that it's a first-person shooter. So not a first-person shooter. The fact that it's a first-person game, and Katana Zero is a 2D side-scroller. It's like 1-to-1 almost. Apart from that one major change, but it's like the exact same.
Is there any like stealth, or is it all in your face like Doom?
No, there's no stealth. Like you sort of start.
Like
Well, it's not
Dishonored.
so far.
Yeah.
You start like enemies are sort of laid out in these sort of zones. Very much, if you play Katana Zero, you know what you're expecting here, because it's enemies are sort of laid out in positions in a small area where the checkpoint starts, and it's sort of like you rinse and repeat, and they always start in the same position. You rinse and repeat, and you're just sort of going until you figure out the pattern of which order to take them out in, and that sort of thing.
So it's like Super Hot in that sense, and like other games in that.
Yeah, actually, Super Hot's Hot's a really good comparison point, because it is a very similar. It feels like a similar scale to that, just with more movement and not the slow motion thing or the guns.
So you have to kill every enemy in the area to progress, or you can just skip them if you want.
Yeah, you do. Yeah, you do. As for like the story and stuff, a lot. I die a lot.
Okay,
so, you like. I mean, you're supposed to.
Yeah,
it's one of those. It's one of those games. But in terms of the story, which I want to talk about a little bit as well, which I haven't. Obviously, I'm only an hour in, so I don't know much about it at the moment. But you know, there's sort of this voice in your head kind of guy. He's some kind of AI, I think, or something like that. But there's a really interesting dynamic with him where it's like you don't know if you should trust him or not, because he's sort of like telling you to trust him, and he's saying, you know, I'm the only guy you can trust, but it's in such a way where it's like, but you don't seem very trustworthy, you know. But then I'm thinking maybe that's a misdirection, and he is actually trustworthy, but who knows? It kind of feels like they're sort of toying with you there in that way, or maybe it really is. Maybe it really is just that blatantly obvious that he's a bad guy. I don't know.
So,
but
so what are your negatives? Like, do you have any things that like jumped out at you that you didn't like?
Well, yeah. Apart from the parkour stuff that I mentioned, the traversal stuff that I mentioned a minute ago.
Yeah.
It doesn't feel particularly well optimized for the console. Like I said, I played the Steam demo a while ago before the game came out, and that was absolutely fine. That was stellar.
Mm-hmm.
But on the PS4, for the full version, there's quite a lot of texture pop-in, and the frame rate dips quite frequently. Not to a horrifying extent, like it'll go into the mid-20s, it feels like.
Yeah.
But I mean, apart from that, like it's good so far. Like it's sitting at like from the first hour alone, I feel weird giving it a score for the first hour, but it feels like an 8.5 in that realm.
Pretty good.
Which is about what it is, like, right? Like 80. It's like 83 or something, 84.
Yeah, I'm not sure. But it's a lot of fun. Yeah. Do any of you guys plan on picking up?
I do plan on picking up at some point, but I think once I get more free time, I definitely intend to, or at least intend looking into it for sure.
Yeah, this seems like a game that I'd wait to get on PS5, and I'll probably get it like January, probably. It's not near anything else. It's a good time to jump in, and it'd probably be cheaper by then too.
Yeah, I mean
it's already at a solid price, I think.
No, I'm not saying
because it's 25. Yeah. £25 sterling. I don't know what that is in dollars, or what it is on the American store, but
it's probably like 30 cents, 40 bucks.
That feels like a good price for it, but yeah.
Yeah, that's not. I didn't mean like.
No, yeah, definitely. So yeah, we've got Fran working on the review for that as well, so that'll hopefully be up in the next couple of weeks. Anything else you guys want to know about it?
I'm watching a gameplay right now. There's puzzles in it, look like Tetris.
Yeah, so I only just got to one of those when I was playing a minute ago before we jumped on here. So I don't have a lot of experience with those. I don't know what the extent of them is, because I've only done the one, which was rather simple. I imagine they'll get more complicated, but it's sort of like you have to sort of press these button things in a specific order, and it moves these sort of Tetris blocks onto a grid, and you have to do them in a specific order to get them all lined up, and then that unlocks the next area or whatever. So yeah, apart from that, one more thing I did want to mention is a little weird. The protagonist, because he's voiced, I found it quite funny. He has this sort of Keanu Reeves, sort of John Wick kind of tone to him.
Oh, okay. I thought you meant like the.
Where it's, I thought you meant it's kind of. It's where it's kind of flat and brooding, you know.
I thought you meant like 90s. I thought you meant like 90s Keanu. Like,
no.
Whoa, dude.
No, he's not in the whoa, dude. That would be funny though. That would be. I think that would make it better.
Yeah.
But yeah.
What if the Ghostrunner just had like a stoner voice and just repeatedly said to the voice in his head, "Whoa, dude, that's not cool, man. That's not radical."
What just hits blunt? The corporations, man.
Fantastic.
Corporations.
That should be. I hope they bring that out as a DLC.
Yeah, just the corporations, man. Yeah.
But in other news, did you guys know that this week is Halloween?
No.
Nah.
No?
Literally,
you guys
forgot. I forgot.
It'll be Halloween when this episode's up.
You guys just dress up like this all the time? Yeah.
This is pajamas, so yeah, actually I do.
Okay. Well, we put out, as soon as it's Halloween, we put out a poll, as we do, asking what people like in their horror games. Or how people like their horror games, I should say. And this one was a lot more one-sided than they usually are. Usually we get a good mix. But this week, nobody said that they like jump scares. Nobody likes jump scares. Can you believe that?
I'm not surprised.
I don't find it as
I'm a
part
little
of a horror
surprised.
game. It just can't be the essential component that is supposed to make it scary.
We'll get into it, but yeah, I don't.
Yeah,
they rely on it too much.
So yeah, nobody said that they like gore galore either. Nobody likes a lot of gore.
That would have been my second choice.
That would have been your second choice, okay. And your first choice was high tension, and that was the first choice of most everybody, with a staggering 93% of the vote.
Whoever picked, yeah, go ahead.
I was just gonna say, I see our voters have some class with their horror games.
Absolutely.
Whoever voted, I'm a big baby. I'm judging you right now.
7% of the vote was I'm a big baby. I assume that was just one or two people. We don't get that many votes.
Shame.
But that would have been my second pick. But yeah, I also went for the high tension.
Yeah,
but, we'll get into the.
I when rewatching like Psycho, for example, by Alfred Hitchcock, like the thing that stands out to me so much about that movie and why it holds up for me is because of how much frickin' tension that soundtrack builds, how much the actors build, the writing. So it's a terrific movie, but especially because of that tension. I don't mind gore in my in horror movies, or Halloween movies. But it again, just like jump scares, it can't be the main thing. I don't mind them in horror movies. I'm not like universally against them or anything, but I like tension the most, especially psychological.
Yeah, it depends on the movie too. Because if I want to watch a Hellraiser or Saw, I want to see gore because it's that kind of movie.
Obviously, yeah.
But Hitchcock's a great example of, especially like not even like just Psycho, like Rear Window or The Birds, things like that. All of those movies are great, like suspense and thriller. Yeah, we'll get into that. But
I don't know how you guys can stand horror films, man. I can't stand them. Dreadful.
Those are very tame.
Dreadful stuff.
Those are very tame compared to today, like 60s horror.
Honestly,
yeah, I know, but it's just I don't know. I find it very boring. But yeah. Anyway, we'll talk about Halloween and sort of the horror game stuff a bit later on.
Speaking of horror, Mark Wahlberg is Sully.
But for now, I want to talk about for everyone was in shock.
That's how we're doing the segue, huh? Okay.
All right, we'll go with that segue.
Sure.
Thank you for that. Excellent segue. Excellent. We've had an update for the Uncharted movie. I'm sure everyone is, on the edge of their seat for this one. Mark Wahlberg has shared a photo of him with Sully's mustache, because obviously he's playing Sully in the Uncharted movie, which we're all thrilled about.
It was like a 70s porn star.
Yeah.
He does. It's very reminiscent of that kind of thing.
Yep.
So yeah, he shared a photo of him with the mustache, and he also shared a photo of Sully's shirt. And credit where credit's due, the shirt is pretty accurate.
Yes, the shirt is like a 1-for-1 recreation.
Yeah. The mustache, though, let's see how it goes.
I think I honestly prefer Sully without the mustache. Would that be weird to say?
Well, that's just Mark Wahlberg.
Yeah.
I know. That's it. Like, at least I can like disassociate from the fact that he's playing Sully without the mustache.
It just looks terrible.
Yeah,
It looks like he's got a CGI mustache on.
Oh, here we go again.
So that's Mitch. So the movie you want. The movie you want is The Adventures of Nathan Drake and Mark Wahlberg.
That sounds like
that'll be much more interesting.
That sounds like something that would exist in the 90s.
I can imagine it being like one of those like animated cartoon series you'd find on like Saturday mornings.
Exactly.
Like they made one for Bill and Ted and whatnot. Like yeah.
Yeah, they did that in the 90s a lot.
Yeah. He just looks like a stereotypical like Italian mobster dude. Like
He looks like Mark Wahlberg with a porn stash. I mean,
wearing a Charlie Sheen.
That's actually exactly it. Yeah.
Anyway, I'm sure we don't want to talk about that for any longer than we have to.
Yep.
So it's a thing. It's definitely a thing. No one can deny that.
The thing is, I don't.
Do you know what else is a? Oh, I'm sorry, Seb.
No, I was gonna say, like, I don't think he looks horrendous. What worries me is his acting. I just don't. His persona just doesn't fit the character at all.
I think what's atrocious is the pose that he's decided to go for this photo. This is the first anyone's going to see of him as Sully, a role everyone's very critical of him for taking.
Yeah, this is.
And he's decided. I can't show you the photo for anyone watching and listening to the podcast, but go and look it up because
this is like, I know it's going to be at 20% on Rotten Tomatoes, and I'm just getting the paycheck.
Like the weird sort of disparity here though is like we talked about last week. Tom Holland's Nathan Drake. He had a full, professional photo shoot on set and everything. He posed, professional lighting, that sort of thing. And for Mark Wahlberg, apparently nobody wanted to associate themselves with him as Sully, so he just took a selfie.
Yeah, it looks like someone jumped in front of him and took a picture. Like,
they basically went, you know what? It's like nothing's gonna save the public reaction to your your reveal. So just post on your Instagram story and see how.
Let's just sneak it out.
Yeah. I think the funniest thing to me about it is that like with the video that attached with the reveal, this is completely irrelevant. But I love the fact that he self-censored himself, like he's on TV, like he's like, don't ask, don't ask. Like
I didn't. Yeah,
it's like it's nothing, but it's like it really weirded me out. Like okay, it reminds me of like those people who are like so into like reality TV and whatnot that they just never actually like have forgotten to swear. That's the weirdest.
So was this a video that he posted on Instagram?
Yeah, no, it's a video. Video.
So this is just a screen grab from a video. It's not actually a selfie. Okay, well I feel stupid.
No,
never mind that.
I would judge you more if you were looking for it. So.
Okay, fair point.
No swearing allowed in this Christian Minecraft server, Mitch. Sorry.
Oh shit. Oh.
Right. Well, anyway, speaking of things that are incredibly exciting for fans of PlayStation, the PlayStation Plus titles were revealed for November. To be Shadow of War and Hollow Knight. Which is very exciting. So anyway, moving on.
Bugsnax.
Oh, I forgot about that. I'm
sorry. Want to talk about that? Oh.
You want to talk about that little thing? Okay. So yeah, no. Bugsnax was announced as the first free PlayStation Plus game for PS5. Everyone's talking about Bugsnax.
Everyone's talking about.
Yeah, like the thing is, I could have sworn it was like $25, but then they're selling it physically for 40. Like, was it always $40?
Oh, it's an indie game.
It was always 40.
Okay,
it's an indie game, but I mean, Marvel is spinning right now. he's dancing. Yeah. I mean, I'm excited about this because it means I don't have to spend money on it, which is fine. I was going to spend money on it.
This is a smart move. Actually,
sure, I'll take it for free.
I'm not, but unironically, I don't think people would have spent $40 on this. I think Sony knew that. Everybody knew this was going to be a Plus game at some point. I think
Sony's not publishing it, are they?
I think so, right?
Yeah.
Are they? Oh, okay.
The first part.
God, I'm the most uninformed podcast host.
You fire him. Get a new one. Where does this guy come from?
I know,
Get
right?
the old guy back. Jeez.
God. All we have, the old guy's gone. All we have is this Ninja Turtle now.
It's the people that did Octodad. So
yeah.
That's right.
Yeah, there.
Yeah.
Which is weird
Anyway.
because I would not imagine the people of Octodad doing something like this. Yet also I do, weirdly enough.
This is prime Octodad content. This is very Octodad, if you ask me.
Yeah.
But yeah. Anyway, so that's going to be the first PS Plus game for PS5, which is exciting. And I think they're going to be running them 2 months at a time, at least out of the gate, because there's not a lot of PS5 games they can choose from.
And not a lot of PS5s in total. So.
That's true. So that's going to be the first one. The second one, I think this is the second one anyway, is going to be Destruction All-Stars, because it's been delayed till February, and it's going to be the PS Plus title starting February now. So you won't have to pay. I know a lot of people, Seb, you included, were sort of very skeptical of the price point, because it was full priced, but it looked like maybe a double A
like
game.
A free-to-play game that they were charging $70 for, and it was a new IP. This game would have bombed completely compared to Demon Souls and Spider-Man, and Assassin's Creed, and every big game coming out, Call of Duty. This game would have fell by the wayside. So putting this in February,
it was going to go against Cyberpunk. Oh, but never mind. Sorry.
But going back to the other thing, like one thing I didn't like when they took away our Vita and PS3 games that we used to get every month too with the PS4 games. So we were paying the same price for less games.
I feel like that was inevitable, though, for them to have to stop setting up them deals.
No, it's fine, but they did it like 2 years in advance, and like they didn't do anything to really make up for it, honestly. But but I'm glad they're going back to it now.
I'm sure. Do you know what? I imagine they'll keep the PS4 titles running longer than they kept the PS3 titles running for because of backwards compatibility.
Oh yeah, for sure. It was probably because of the architecture and all that. But yeah.
Yeah, and probably because there weren't as many people claiming them.
Oh yeah.
Because everyone would move over to PS4.
Yep.
But yeah, that's exciting. Everyone's going to get that for free as well. They're just throwing games at us. They're just giving them away.
And that's in February, so we don't even know December and January what we're going to get. So that's exciting.
December's going to be Bugsnax.
Sony's major competitor gives away games for free every month on like some sort of, I don't know, pass that you can get games, and like they're trying to compete with them or something.
Yeah, I know.
So
that's nuts.
So Bugsnax is November and December, or is it?
Yeah, Bugsnax is going to be November and December.
Oh, I thought it was going to be 2 months, but I thought they were going to put something else in there too.
No, they're doing so. Destruction All Stars is going to be 2 months as well. I don't know what they're going to do for January. That is an interesting point. Maybe they won't do anything. Who knows? But yeah, so that's that. Gotcha. That's exciting. I wonder what they're going to do after that. Maybe Godfall. Who knows?
Yeah.
Hopefully.
And it's good that they're refunding the pre-orders for everybody.
Yeah, that's good as well. I wonder what they're going to do for Bugsnax for refunding the pre-orders. Because I assume not. Maybe. Who knows?
I don't know. I mean, I didn't even know that they had pre-orders up for Bugsnax on PS5. So.
That's true. That's true. They won't have done. Yeah. Okay. Fair point.
Yeah.
Because that's the thing as well. It's only going to be on the PS5 version is going to be on PS Plus, not the PS4 version. So if you wanted it on PS4, you're still going to have to buy it.
Sad.
So yeah. Which is a shame for all our PS4 owners, but not for us.
Not for
PS5 owners. Sorry, Dory.
November 12th.
Sorry, Mitch. Anyway, more PlayStation Plus news. Good news for PlayStation Plus owners all around. The PS Plus collection has been bolstered with Crash Bandicoot Insane Trilogy, Call of Duty Black Ops 3 Zombie Chronicles Edition. That's the one that comes with all the remastered zombie maps, which I'm very excited about because I never got to play that and I love those maps. And also Final Fantasy 15, which was in the collection before, has been upgraded to Final Fantasy 15 Royal Edition, which comes with stuff.
All the DLC.
The DLCs, yeah.
Well, the DLC and stuff, yeah.
There's a lot of them.
So that's good. Anyone got any thoughts on that?
Pretty cool.
I think really any long-term PS4 owner would have majority of the like collection and essentials and stuff.
Yep.
But
I own most of these. Yeah.
I think I own every single one.
Yeah.
To be honest with you.
Like I think I haven't played I only think I haven't played like 3 of them. But I think for people either getting on board with PS5 or people who just haven't played many of those games for any reason, I think it's an excellent, like, I think as Dory sort of hinted towards earlier, like, it's an excellent type of, like, it's an excellent competitor to Game Pass in that sense.
Yeah.
Because, like, it's not like Game Pass where it's like you've got, like, it's a Netflix or whatever. Like, they're straight up just giving you a bunch of games to play around with in a collection.
And
yeah,
we're gonna get into it a little bit, but like not only that, these games are getting upgrades. Like we're getting like 60 frames per second God of War and things like that. And well, we're getting in the next topic, but like you'll see.
And I mean, think about it. Just these 3 titles alone, right? Black Ops, Final Fantasy Royal, and Crash Bandicoot Insane Trilogy are all 3 very different games. That's an action RPG, a platformer, and a shooter that everyone knows about. So that by itself is a really good mix of genres. So there's going to be something for everybody in there.
Yeah, definitely. Good times all around. Now it's time to return to a segment that I'm very excited about. Yeah. It's time for the Gold Zone. Now, Seb, what went gold this week?
Immortals Fenyx Rising.
That's right. I'm sorry, Mitch. The incredibly named Immortals Fenyx Rising went gold this week. That's coming out December 3rd, if I'm not mistaken.
Mm.
And do you know what else is coming out in December? Anybody? Any guesses? No? Oh, Mitch?
Oh, I do. Cyberpunk 2077.
Cyberpunk
has been delayed, despite going gold. It has been delayed.
That is right.
Now, December 10th,
now, have we ever seen that before? Has a game ever gone gold and then been delayed? Has that ever happened?
It's been known to happen on 1 or 2 occasions, but it very rarely happens.
Yeah,
very
rarely.
The game's such a high profile as this, like the game's as big as
this is nuts, right? Because for those who don't know, going gold means that the game has been like the disc version of the game has been done. Discs have started getting produced and shipped out to stores. It's been put on the PlayStation Store on the back end and that sort of thing. Like the game is ready. Apart from the day 1 patch, the game is done and ready to go.
It is too.
Which is the thing too. Like I do not want to see how big the day 1 patch is. Like I'm already anticipating like 50 gig day 1 patches.
Here's the thing. Here's the thing. The game is done. Like they say it's available. Yeah. It's ready for PC. But the only reason why they're delaying it is because it's not working on PS4 and One X, the Xbox One X at all.
Yeah, it's ready to go on next-gen consoles and PC.
Yeah, it's holding it back.
Which kind of makes me worry because I want to pick the game up because, surprisingly enough, it lands on my birthday as well as James' birthday. Yes, we share the same birthday, December 10th. So it comes out on our birthdays. And I want to get it, but at the same time, if it's just not going to work on PS4, I'm just going to wait until I can get it on for PS5, really.
And I don't have to worry about that because I am getting a PS5, so haha. That's going to be a good day.
My favorite part about this is that this has become some sort of weird corporate black comedy at this point, where first CD Projekt Red is like, well, we're not going to crunch at all, and then it's like, well, we're going to crunch, but that way it's still on time, and then they delay it anyway. It's like, well, that's not going to stop us from crunching, we're just going to crunch harder. And it's like, wow, it's almost like your promises never meant anything at all.
Here's the thing, like I have a bad feeling this game is too ambitious, and it's too ambitious for PS4, I think, for sure. Like,
I wouldn't be surprised.
But like I think what it is that I think CD Projekt Red has been way too transparent on every little detail that they're working on. So like when they take it out of the game, people are like, "Oh my god, why'd you take it out?" Like I think they're a good example of when you reveal too much and you're always telling everybody what you're doing, and they always speak in absolutes. They always say like we're definitely not delaying this again. Like don't say definitely, like say like maybe, we don't know, you know what I mean? Like they always speak in absolutes, always.
And the nuts thing about this, to me especially, like the nuts thing is like they didn't even tell the social media team in advance, because like the day prior, like 1 day prior to getting delayed, the social media team, they were telling some guy on Twitter that he could safely take a day off work for the game because no more delays were happening. And apparently the developers didn't find out until we found out either, which is crazy. I mean, why would you not give them advance notice? That makes no sense.
I think the whole good guy CD Projekt Red image is kind of crumbling under its own weight.
Yeah,
because as Seb said, they're being too transparent with both its audience and, I mean, actually no, they're not being transparent with their staff at all. But in being too transparent with their audience, they're setting themselves up like on a high pedestal.
They are.
And then that's slowly crumbling away. And I can only guess that if at launch the PS4 version or current gen versions aren't as up to par as people were hoping for, then it's not going to go well for them at all.
Yeah, like how many games do you know have 20-minute episode like shows every couple weeks or whatever? Like this game,
I feel like they're really leaning into the hype with that.
Yeah.
So like I don't.
Yeah.
I'll definitely commend them if technically wise the game itself comes out good, but I think at the same time it's also just good to consider the fact that all of the behind the scenes stuff getting to that point hasn't been good for many.
Yeah, like
at all.
Yeah, like we hold we hold certain developers to a higher standard, and if this game doesn't get a 90 or higher on Metacritic, people are gonna shit on this game. I'm just gonna be honest. Even if it's like 85, which is a great score, there's gonna be a lot of backlash. This game has beyond hype. Like, go ahead.
Yeah.
I mean, like I've seen people on Twitter bashing Ubisoft for Watch Dogs Legion for getting a 74 on Metacritic.
Yeah.
And I'm like, that's not even remotely a bad score.
Yeah.
But imagine if CD Projekt Red gets even close to a 70. It's gonna be
yeah.
And other people are being even more ridiculous on social media, sending devs death threats. Don't be that person. Come on. This is people's lives. They're doing it. As a reminder, everyone is working under conditions of a pandemic. They're doing the goddamn best they can. Clearly, the people at top are not communicating with the people at bottom.
Yeah, it's an
at least as much
issue.
as it should be.
I didn't even consider that. The fact that they're both crunching and they're crunching in a pandemic.
Yeah, I mean, they're working from home, right? Probably.
Morale and productivity is already low. Doing that in crunching in that is probably mentally even more mentally exhausting than before, I imagine. Yeah.
So don't give the devs shit, because this is obviously it's just not cool. I doubt anyone who's listening to this is actually going to, but tell a friend, don't give devs shit.
Yeah, it's an executive issue.
They're doing the best they can.
The devs are not making
devs
decisions.
People
Yeah,
exactly.
Yeah, for sure. It's not their fault anyway.
The nuts thing is to me about the fact that they didn't even tell their own staff that the game was getting delayed is that I mean, to me that says that they're just making decisions on the fly. Hey, maybe we should delay the game. Okay, let's delay it 2 days.
It kind of this is not PlayStation related, obviously, but it kind of reminds me of all the recent stuff that's happened with Halo Infinite and how that's had directors, 2 directors now leave the project. It seems to be more than anything just a bad case of head management with bad egos or just poor management skills overall. But
don't make no mistake though. Having 2 directors leave your project is not a recipe for disaster, as you may assume, because the Uncharted movie has had numerous directors leave its project, and they have Mark Wahlberg as Sully. So,
didn't they? I mean, I saw something about the fact that they had Mark Wahlberg originally as Nathan Drake. That's how long it's been in production for, and then after a while, they're like, "No, mate, you're too old for Nathan Drake. Just play Sully." Anyways,
that would be a fantastic story.
Yeah.
Anyway, speaking of delays, this actually kind of came out of nowhere. I was surprised by this, but I suppose we shouldn't be surprised at this point about delays happening because we're in a pandemic and everything. But Far Cry 6 and Rainbow Six Quarantine have both been delayed. Of course, Rainbow Six Quarantine didn't have an exact date yet. Far Cry 6 did. It was releasing in January. I don't have the date on me, but they've both been delayed.
Yeah.
Come again?
Like, I thought Far Cry 6 was February, but no, don't mind me. It's early 2021, basically.
Okay, that might be my bad. I'm not sure. I thought it was January. Anyway,
April.
they've both been delayed to some point between April 2021 and March 2022, which is quite a large window, and so it could have been delayed a couple of months, or it could have been delayed a year.
When was it supposed to come out?
Far Cry 6 was supposed to come out January or February. Rainbow Six Quarantine was slated for, I think it was slated for the first quarter of 2021. I'm not entirely sure. But yeah, those might be contenders for the why did you announce this Ubisoft award?
Mm-hmm.
Who knows?
Yeah, especially Quarantine, because that was announced back in 2018, and we've received no official word since.
Well, maybe at this point they're just hoping that if they delay it long enough, they won't have to release Rainbow Six Quarantine during a pandemic.
And we didn't get gameplay for Far Cry either. All we got was a trailer, so it's not like
that's true.
Yeah.
There were screenshots and stuff.
Well, when was Far Cry 6 revealed? Like what? June, July, August, like that type of period?
Yeah.
Summer.
Yeah, like it's been months since we've heard even a peak of Far Cry 6, and the fact that, like, I mean, I only just remember I only thought of it like a week or so ago, but it's like if we don't receive Far Cry 6 news soon, it's going to be delayed. Otherwise, it's going to be like a pretty big flop.
I'll admit, I thought it was a lock because they announced the different editions of the game. They seem to be pushing up the marketing, the pre-order bonuses, that sort of thing.
Yeah, but it's coming out in 2 months, and we got no gameplay. That's very strange. That's why I would not think it would come out in January, February.
Yeah, I'm
it's November.
Worried that Far Cry 6 is going to be like one of those budget Ubi titles where it's like you can tell that, especially from the last one, that they had their budget slashed, and it's just not going to be as well polished and put together as previous.
You said Far Cry or Rainbow Six?
Far Cry. I mean, Rainbow Six Quarantine is basically locked in to be shit.
Last one was, yeah.
Just like real lockdowns and quarantines.
Yeah.
I can't say I have any excitement for either of these games, so.
Yeah, I can't either. That's why I haven't said anything. I've really got nothing to say.
Far Cry is not my thing. No.
Yeah, not even. I'm probably going to butcher his name, but like Giancarlo Esposito as the main antagonist of Far Cry 6, not even that can really like sell me on the game.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's the thing. Like having star power doesn't make a game good.
Yeah, if I want to watch him, I'll just watch like Dear White People, or or I'll watch Breaking Bad.
Breaking Bad, yeah.
The Mandalorian, perhaps.
The Mandalorian, yeah.
Or The Boys. He's also in that.
He's in everything.
He's in everything.
Superb. He should be in more things. But Seb, actually, I wanted to divert from the running order a second here and ask you: have you got your PS5 controller yet?
No, I'll get it.
No,
I'm gonna stick with one until Christmas. Then I'll ask somebody will give me that for a gift or something.
I see. Okay. So moving on. Apparently there's some kind of pre-patch for the PS5 that helps PS4 games load faster, like The Last of Us 2, God of War 3, God of War, Until Dawn, and the Final Fantasy VII Remake.
Yep.
So that's good for backwards compatibility. People who want to play PS4 games on their PS5s,
and they're fast.
Also, Sorry, I was gonna say also, Days Gone got a monstrous 25 gigabyte patch, which is insane to me, and I have a feeling that patch has a lot more than just loading time patches for the game.
You can now ride two motorcycles at once.
What?
I said you can now ride two motorcycles at once. Two of them.
So Until Dawn loads instantly. It doesn't even have loading screens anymore. And The Last of Us, they timed it. They put 2 videos together, and normally it takes about a minute to load in the game. This one takes about 35 seconds.
Is this all the development studios implementing that Ghost of Tsushima tech that lets that game load in a?
I think so. Yes.
Yeah.
I was gonna say Sucker Punch games are like, I mean, I saw like it's also with Infamous Second Son way back at the start of the generation, but Sucker Punch games, especially for being open world games and how detailed they are, I think it's incredible that they can load like that.
Yeah.
On like even on base PS4 hardware, it's pretty incredible.
And like I said, a lot of these games are gonna get 60 frame per second performance modes. That's awesome.
Which I think God of War, especially in 60 FPS, is going to be, pardon the pun, but godlike. PS5.
Yeah, and No Man's Sky is also getting 60 FPS mode, and a bunch, as well as a wealth of other upgrades, because it's getting like a full next gen upgrade. Because so Sean Murray put out on Twitter that it's going to have the PS5 version it's going to be a free upgrade. It's going to have fuller worlds, save game transfer, 32 player multiplayer, 4K at 60 FPS, ultra visuals, vast base building, warp speed load times, crossplay, PS5 haptic support, advanced audio, and PlayStation VR support. So you'll be able to use your PSVR current gen on the PS5 if you order that adapter that they're all thing. So have any of you guys played No Man's Sky?
I haven't, but I'm just amazed that the updates are still coming for this game. I mean, I guess that's what happens when you underdeliver on something and then really were committed the whole time to really delivering, but just couldn't.
They could have stopped like updates ago, and people would have been happy. But they keep going.
I think they're really trying to do their audience right, which I think is awesome. I think
they would have closed down if they didn't turn it around.
I think, that's probably true too. I think this is one of the better, and we'll probably get into this next week, but one of the better redemption stories in terms of the game industry.
Well, the thing is, like, the story of No Man's Sky is fascinating to me because, I mean, as we know, gamers are a vile creature. And
true.
But like in this rare exception, like I don't know if you guys remember, there was that story maybe a year or two ago where a bunch of No Man's Sky fans pulled their money together and bought a billboard outside the Hello Games offices, basically thanking them for the game and that sort of thing, which is very wholesome and incredible. So yeah, I mean, honestly,
it just got too much hype.
You love to see it. Yeah. You love to see it.
It's just that they started advertising the game on late night talk shows, and they were like, And PlayStation was really heavily advertising. Now, I played? Go ahead.
What's interesting to me, is that this sort of new trailer they released for the next gen upgrade version of the game. It looks like they finally made the game, to me at least, to my eyes, look better than it looked when they announced it. So I think that's the stopping point.
I think they're already up. Go ahead.
So I was gonna say that, like, I think No Man's Sky is one of those, like, very, without making it sound pretentious, like, it's one of those few games that are, like, so ahead of its time. The fact, like, and now it finally seems to be, at least technically wise in its time. Like, I think, as James said, it actually looks better than its initial reveal, and it seems to finally be, like, implementing some of the features and, promises that they originally made, like full worlds and 32-player multiplayer and base building and load time. Like,
because I have it, and I got it at launch, and when I played it, that game was so bare bones and boring. Like, all the animals were like generic. You can tell they were like there were 5 animals in the whole game, the same over and over. I was blown away. I was really excited about this game, like the way you can just fly into a planet and stuff like that. But then there was a lot of like broken promises. But I'm glad they turned it around. I mean, I do believe they already upgraded the game on PC. So if you wanted to like see what it looks like right now, you can jump on PC. But I think we're getting that version. Do you know the date when we're getting that? Did they say?
I do know. I don't know if they said. I don't think they said. I would assume
it might be instant. or like
My assumption
November.
would be day one or very close to it.
Yeah,
But don't take that as gospel because I have no fucking clue.
that's probably a safe bet.
But yeah, do you guys want to talk about the new PlayStation app?
Yes.
Sure.
Yes.
It's awesome.
Yeah,
It's
I
actually
haven't
pretty cool. I
tried it because
downloaded it the other day.
my phone is old, so apparently I don't get the new
Let me get my
PS app.
iPad.
It's a first gen Google Pixel, so
I've been looking.
It looks
Is-
very nice. Looks very sleek.
for
Yeah,
audio
yeah, it's very
listeners,
intuitive.
Dory is booting up the PlayStation app now and showing us.
A little
And
tough
it does look
because of the glare and stuff.
it does look sleek. It's very there's a lot of curves in there. It's very sort of round.
It
Yeah, you can
looks
see all
like
your trophies, the percentage point. You can go to. You can see how many friends you have online just by clicking it.
It looks great.
Yeah,
like,
it's so high quality.
It's NSF's brought it up as well. All right, quit bragging, guys. Come on.
No, it's really like advanced. Like it's really feels
Yeah,
like a next gen
It's
app.
really good.
is it like responsive and everything? Is it
extremely.
very
Yeah.
Doesn't
very quick?
freeze at
Yeah.
all. Yeah.
Because that's I find that the current ones are a little slow, but it doesn't. It looks kind of there's a lot of rounded edges. I'm getting very. This is not interesting, but there's a lot of rounded edges, which that feels like a very PlayStation 3 gen aesthetical choice to me.
I mean, yeah, especially considering. I mean, it fits much more in line with the PS5 considering its UI, but like because the PS4 is very boxed and
Yeah.
round. Not round, like very boxed and.
I like a
square.
good box.
Oh
Yeah,
Yeah.
I will.
And they changed the trophies too.
Yes.
Mm.
Yes,
I
that was
will
the-
also. So I'll just briefly go through it, but basically, you can go through your recent games. You can explore to see official news and from the PS blog. You can go in the PlayStation Store, buy it, and then down. You can do this on a web browser too. It's not. I'm not saying it's revolutionary, but it's cool. You can still go through the PS Store and download stuff, and then put it on your PlayStation,
Yep.
and it'll download. I think while you're there,
Yep.
you can check out your game library,
Mhm.
and then
Yeah.
you can search whatever you want.
I mean, most of those features were already in the old PlayStation app, but I think this like new refurbishing has just made it a lot more accessible
Yes.
and easy to use because the old app's UI was very cumbersome.
Yeah, you could do a lot of that stuff in the previous app, but it looks so much smoother now that I actually want it on my phone. Because before I was like, I don't know if I even want this on my phone.
Yeah, it looks even better on a tablet.
looks-
'Cause it really pops on a tablet too. It looks 4K.
Yeah.
It looks 4K on a tablet.
Yeah, it looks good.
But only thing I don't like is they took away the cover photo ability. I don't think PS5 is gonna have cover photos now because I can't change it on my app anymore. So
Yeah, that's a shame for sure. But
that screwed me over because I always
Yeah.
change mine every week.
yeah,
Not a
I
big
never
deal,
really
but-
used. Yeah, I never really bothered with that sort of thing. But
Yeah,
it's not because it's not the most accessible.
because they didn't even change like when you edit your profile. That looks exactly the same. But so they just took the cover photo right out. So that's definitely intentional.
What can you do?
It's fine. No, it's not a big deal.
But yeah, last week we told you that the press got their hands on the PS5 and we didn't, and we're very mad about that. We're still very mad about that. Sony
We're
will
gonna
be
rewind
outside.
Xbox now.
We will be outside your offices with pitchforks presently. But the people who did get PS5s released previews this week. I don't know if any of you guys checked these out.
Yep, I checked a few out.
I've checked like 10 of them probably.
Yeah,
Anything
I was gonna
stick out to you?
I think, I mean, look, it's really just like it's the hardware at this point. We didn't see, well, at least any official looks at the UI and software and the load times. But I think, like, I mean, it's been going around Twitter the past couple of days. But it's like, have any of you guys seen the little Twitter video of the controllers, like trigger or whatever, just like fighting up?
I have not. I've avoided that. It's like a lot of things because I want.
I haven't seen it.
I put it on the Discord, but I guess no one saw it.
The trigger is my most my most anticipated feature, so I want to go in fresh with that.
Yeah, I wouldn't say skeptical of the haptic features before, but I was really interested to see how much they'd be implemented. And the haptic triggers definitely look like they're going to be a thing. And yeah, I'm interested to see how it plays out in games and like whether it'll be an annoyance in some or whether it'll help others.
Yeah,
I don't really.
And a lot of games are using it too.
A lot of people are saying that a lot of people are making comparisons to the trigger rumble sort of thing, the haptic feedback. I'm not sure what it is. The thing in the Xbox One controller that everyone was very excited about, that not many games outside of the first party on Xbox used when that launched, which is a fair comparison. And I am very worried that third party publishers and developers aren't going to utilize the triggers and the haptic feedback. I think I do think the main difference in this case, though, is that Sony seems to be making a much bigger deal out of these features, which I think will incentivize third parties to use it more.
James, did you get the controller yet?
I didn't get the controller. We don't get the controller until the 12th.
Okay, it came out today in America, so a lot of people got their hands on it. It's very thick, like it's pretty big, like it's But I heard it's way more advanced than the Xbox One. So your concerns are totally true. It's probably what's going to happen. It's probably not going to go fully, every third party game. But I do think this is a game changer for a controller. I do think this is not just a gimmick this time.
Yeah,
I had a lot of faith in this.
And I mean, I don't think, honestly, that we can go back in a long history of, quote unquote gimmicks or game gimmicks, right? They used to think analog sticks were gimmicks. They used to think, vibrations were gimmicks. Like, everybody saw the Wii remote as like this ridiculous thing that was never going to go anywhere. One of the best selling consoles of all time.
Yeah.
Because I would say the touch bar and the light bar are gimmicks for the PS4 controller, and
I was gonna
and the light bar ate the battery up. So go ahead and bench.
As long as it doesn't, I was going to say, as long as the haptic feedback doesn't end up being another touchpad sort of situation where it's like Sony really pushes it in their first party titles for like less than a year.
Yeah.
And after that, it just becomes like a glorified map button. Like, as long as developers stick with it.
Yeah, I wonder,
and like, I mean, there's that list going around of like both first and third party titles that are using haptic feedback at launch. Yeah, so I hope like
big list.
I think like, I mean, I've had a lot of people who've had hands on with the DualSense so far like basically say that this is like the first next gen controller.
Yeah,
like it's that big of a game changer. So I hope Sony continues to sort of push that forward in both in all of their games basically, and get developers on to adding support for it.
Yeah, it sounds really high quality because one thing with PS4 controller is very plasticky and it makes a creaky noise.
Yeah,
like it feels kind of cheap, honestly. I mean, I love this controller, but it is kind of
Yeah,
I mean, I've been using a third party like wired controller for most of my time. So yeah.
The only thing that kind of sucks though.
What are you doing that for?
The only thing that sucks right now is if you wanted a second controller, you kind of have to get two white ones, and people like to mix their colors up. And
I mean, I don't mind the white. I do.
I like the white, but I would like to have
I like the white and blue aesthetic that it's going for. But I also do like the red plates that what are they called? PlayStation had. I think that looks.
Yeah.
So yeah.
But for me, the difference between the DualSense features and the DualShock 4 features are that with the DualSense, it's the difference is like the touchpad on the PS4 controller. It doesn't add anything to the experience. Like, it's just a different way of accessing the map and a different way of accessing the photo mode or what have you. Like, there's nothing really that you can do in a game with the touchpad itself that makes it better.
Yeah.
Like, you swipe instead of pressing a button. That doesn't enhance anything.
Yeah,
with the DualSense features, it's different because, like, from what I've heard at least, it really having that trigger resistance and having that haptic feedback does enhance the experience.
Absolutely.
So that in that way I can see more third parties using it, and I can't wait to play like Gran Turismo with the triggers,
Yeah, and like they said, when you're in the sand you feel like you're in a sand, and it's a weird feeling. And when you're in the water it feels like you're in the water. Now,
I mean, as we all know from that excellent PlayStation event, GTA 5 for PS5, right, or GTA 6 or whatever it was.
5. I think it was 5, right?
Yeah,
it's 5.
Just same game.
Yeah, I mean, I'm as excited as I am for those features, though. What you're saying about like the sound and stuff, I'm sure that's true, but I think they said a lot of similar stuff about the haptic feedback in the Switch's Joy-Cons, and I don't notice a lot of difference with those, to be honest. Maybe because games don't utilize them too much. But.
I'd have to experience it myself. There's like no way someone can tell me what it feels like. You know what I mean? But
yeah, definitely.
The one that, now, like, I mean, I'm sure you're gonna get right into this, but like Astro's Playroom, I'm really excited about because I'm a big Astrobots fan. That's like the perfect demo to really show the DualSense for sure. Like it has all these unique levels, like in the ice and in the sand and stuff like that. And again, it's free. I can't believe that game is free because like it looks really good.
Well, that's the thing. It's supposed to be like a demo for all these features. Yeah,
but it has trophies and everything.
Yeah, I guess they really went all out. So. But yeah, let's see what else we got. And the trophies. You want to talk about the trophies a little bit?
Yes.
Seb, yeah.
Like obviously they changed all the way the trophies look. First of all, but apparently when you earn a trophy now, it automatically records your gameplay, like of when you earn that moment. Like
that is cool.
Comes up. Now, is that going to take up a lot of space? Probably.
That's what I was about to say. Yeah,
I'd probably take that feature off because I don't really need to record when I earn a video. Image is good enough for me.
I think the one thing that would be really useful for it is that, like, if you could sort of differentiate, like, between, like, what type of trophies that it records. Like, say, for instance, like, if there's a feature, like, an option to only record gameplay of getting trophies if it's, like, a platinum or something.
Mm-hmm.
Like, that would...
that'd be cool.
Rather than, you know, like, having to go through and, like, especially for trophy hunters, like having to go through and manage your storage after getting like all the dozens of trophies for a game would be time consuming and annoying. So especially if you just want one recording. So yeah.
I don't even like when they take screenshots of when you earn a trophy. Like I gotta delete all my screen captures. They don't take up a lot of space, but I don't really care for it that much. And,
I mean that.
And it doesn't let me upload to Twitter though. You can't even upload it to Twitter. I got to put it on a USB drive and then upload it from my computer. Yeah.
Yeah.
So I have heard people upset that the trophy sound is disappointing. It doesn't have that ding sound. It's not that noticeable. So a lot of people
I could see them changing that if there's a bad response.
Yeah. So, it's meaningless to me. I don't really care about it.
Yep.
I like the trophy sound.
So. I do, but I don't. It's not like I'm not buying a PS5 now. Like people complain just to complain sometimes.
Look, I mean, if people are that willing to not get a PS5 over something as minute as that, they probably weren't going to get a PS5 anyways.
Yeah.
Honestly.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
But they've also outlined some accessibility features, which is quite exciting. So, they've announced voice dictation. I'm not sure what that means.
Voice dictation is basically you speak and it'll translate your speech to text.
Oh, okay, I see.
Right.
Yeah.
That's a lot for me.
It might be.
Yeah, I use it all the time. I'm sorry, Mitch.
No, I was going to say, like, they showed it off in the home screen on the UI reveal. They sort of showed off how you can, like, the controller's built-in speakers, you can just speak into that. And
I want to point out, actually, as an autistic person, like, when I wake up in the morning, I have, like, sensory processing issues. And so it really helps me to be able to just dictate what I want to say and just say it instead of tapping on the keyboard, because it's difficult for me. I only need that sometimes, but it is a real nice thing for me as well. So I really appreciate this, because typing on the fucking PS4 is a hassle.
Now, Dory, how do you handle like headphones? Like, because my brother has autism too. He has Asperger's, and he has he gets very sensitive hearing. Does that bother you if you're blasting like music or something in your ears, or can you do that? No,
I'm usually good with sound. If I have a lot of sound in the background, then I can't concentrate very well, and so that is difficult. But if I just have one thing that's really loud, that's fine. I can process that very smoothly. But if there's multiple things in the background and someone's trying to talk to me, especially, I'll say 50 times before I, exaggerating, but 5 times before I get what the hell they're saying.
Yeah, because my brother can't go. He can't go to concerts or or if a bird's squawking or something. Like it really bothers him.
Yeah.
Yeah, but there's a bunch of cool features here. So there's going to be a screen reader for people with low vision and hard of hearing players. There's going to be color correction, custom button assignments, closed captions, and you can reduce or disable the haptic feedback and adaptive triggers. So yeah, I mean, it's nice that they're doing more stuff for accessibility. I know Xbox Microsoft have pushed a lot of that stuff with their controller. What do they call it again? Their adaptive controller or something like that. But yeah, it's nice to see these big companies pushing for more of this sort of stuff.
Although developers, if you're listening to me, if you're gonna put captions in a game, make it big, please. Stop putting tiny little text in games. Like,
stop putting tiny text in general.
Yeah,
like especially
like, even
Outer
for me,
Worlds,
yeah.
a game I really love.
Yeah.
Like some of the text is so freaking small, and I've got to like roll up to the TV and like what.
I will say,
I have a 55-inch TV. I'm still like.
I will say I'm a fan of small text, so I like when they give you options for
that's what I mean. Well, that's what I mean.
That's fine. Options,
yeah. But yeah, as you know, still in the PS5 stuff, they're seeing apparently strong demand ahead of launch. Apparently they've sold, this is according to Jim Ryan, I think, apparently they've sold as many PS5 consoles, pre-sold, sorry, I should say, as many PS5 consoles in the first 12 hours in the United States of the pre-orders going live than they did in the first 12 weeks for the PS4, which is big numbers. And he also says that they're looking to grow their studios organically, and that they want to bolster their in-house capability with selective mergers and acquisitions.
In other words, they're not going to buy Capcom and Square Enix. So, guys, you got people listening, stop demanding.
I mean, that kind of to me that reads like business speak for. We're not looking to buy studios at the moment, but we want to seem like we're being competitive with Microsoft.
Go ahead, Mitch.
I was going to say, which really is the. I mean, I don't think PlayStation exclusives are for the most part pretty strong as they are. So it's not like they need to. PlayStation and Sony needs to acquire more studios to compete with Microsoft, because the entire reason, well, not the entire reason obviously, but it's at least from the consumer perspective, a lot of the reason why Microsoft acquired Bethesda in the first place is because they wanted to compete with PlayStation and their first party titles in as big of a way as they can.
Yeah, this tells me this tells me more like Housemarque or Blue Point Games or something like that. They still say acquisition, so I think it'd be smaller scale. Yeah.
I think the biggest the biggest studio they've probably acquired recently is Insomniac.
Yeah, definitely Insomniac.
I'd say that's probably as big as they're going to go for the time being.
When they say merger, I guess maybe. I don't know, I'm trying to think of a small studio that they have that's not really doing much.
The nuts thing is, they got Insomniac dirt cheap as well. It was 400 something million.
Yeah.
Not much at all.
I think what they're really referring to is that Malaysian studio that they have now. I think that's rumored to work on the new Uncharted game. I think that's what they're referring to.
Yeah.
But considering the number of sales, I know somebody in the industry said they're thinking PlayStation 5 is going to sell over 200 million units. So right now PS5 is on pace to really be in the top 3 of all time. So that'd be something.
Yeah,
that's crazy.
Yeah, they really want this to be more successful than the PS4, and it's a growing industry. So
yeah, and that's with not having enough PS5s available for the holidays. Yeah. So that's crazy numbers.
Yeah. Crazy stuff. Yeah. But yeah, this was a big news week. There was a lot of Demon Souls details that came in the form of a new gameplay trailer.
Oh man.
So yeah, I mean, are any of us looking forward to Demon Souls? I don't think any of us are.
I am now.
Demon Souls is probably I'm definitely interested to pick up Demon Souls later on in the PS5, but it's I'm not a big Souls fan, but I think Demon Souls definitely looks good enough to really Like it looks great, and I think some of the improvements listed out here, like you've got you've got the typical 2 different modes, like cinematic mode with 4K 30 FPS and performance mode with 60 FPS.
Fire.
And and then you've got you've even got filters like the Kurosawa mode from Ghost of Tsushima, like stuff like that. And
it's not actually the Kurosawa mode. It's just that they have filters that can be applied in the same way.
Exactly. Yeah.
To clarify,
and, it looks like they put a lot of effort into it, Bluepoint, because I think I heard that they've been working on this for 3 years, so roughly around the time they finished the Shadow of the Colossus. Yeah. It's been in development for a while, and it shows. Yeah.
Yes.
What I'm interested in is the fact that you can now roll in 8 different directions. Because, I assume I've never played the original, but I assume you can only roll in one direction.
Yep.
And that seems like, I'm sure they know what they're doing, right? But that seems like a pretty big gameplay change. Because I thought the objective was to keep it as close to the original as they can.
It's gotta be a little more modern too, though. That's a PS3 game that came out
Did they do that sort of thing with Shadow of the Colossus?
Yeah, they did. The gameplay was very similar, but the controls were way better because Shadow of the Colossus is a masterpiece, but the controls haven't aged well at all. It's almost impossible to play if you didn't grow up with that style. And I assume they would have accounted for how the new role sort of directions can impact gameplay, and all the bosses and everything that are obviously very meticulously designed to be difficult and that sort of thing. And but I'm sure they know what they're doing. And the whole game's getting a full orchestra soundtrack because I believe the original game didn't have a orchestra or something like that. It was like a synth sound kind of. I think I don't know. I never played Demon Souls. I never played Demon Souls. I don't think
many did. It's the niche type of first entry.
It started it all. Yeah, but the thing is, I'm not a Souls guy, but I did Platinum Bloodborne, beat Dark Souls, and I did beat Neo. So I do like these games. They're just not my preferred game. This game just looks phenomenal. This looks next gen. It's mind blowing how the particles and the atmosphere and the quality, the way it runs it's really mind blowing. Sony really needs to buy Bluepoint games because
it does look great, and it's gonna have a photo mode. What? So I'm very excited.
Check out James's photo mode guide video.
It might be hard if you like Sekiro style or something because you gotta block and stuff. It's not like you're parrying and dodging things and stuff like that. It's gonna be
surprising. Absolutely no one here, or probably no one listening to this podcast, but I'm not gonna get it. But I hope it's great. And not my preferred game, just like Seb. But yeah, I like my PS4 or PS5 in this case in one piece.
Yeah. Anybody have anything else on that?
I do think it's going to be in the 90s. I feel very.
If it's in the 90s, it will be a 90 or a 91.
Yeah, 90 or 91.
Yeah.
But don't be surprised if it's up.
But it's was the original in that sort of realm? Because if the original wasn't, then
I don't know. That's a good question. But this one looks a lot more quality. But
it's they will have changed very little. It'll just be a modernized version of the original. So if the original was in the 80s, this will still be in the 80s, I think.
It depends how.
I can see mid to upper 80s.
Yeah, I can see that too. But I got a feeling it's gonna be a 90, 91. But don't be shocked if it's game of the year, good, mind blowingly good.
Sure.
I'm trying to find
it. It looked very good from what I saw.
It has it. That's Dark Souls. Where's Demon Souls? Yeah, so I can't seem to find it. Did they not do one? Oh, 89. That's 89.
89. That is surprising, actually, for because that was their first wasn't that their first crack at that kind of game?
Yep, started a whole genre.
Well, the first proper crack at it. They've done it before, but yeah, the first proper crack at the Souls genre.
Yeah.
Itself.
Although I suppose if it wasn't such a success, they maybe wouldn't have gone on to make so many more of them.
Well, see, so if it matches it and does it better, that sounds like a 90 or 91.
Yeah. I mean, I guess the goal isn't to make it better, though. It's just to make it seem like what you would expect it to be if it released today.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
But yeah. Anyway,
the visuals alone might
yeah,
get high score.
I'm sure it'll be good. I'll play it at some point for sure, even though I'm not a big Souls fan. But as I said earlier on, it's Halloween this week. You guys aren't just dressed up like you don't dress up like this every week.
No, I'm not sitting in my room burning up in this Spider-Man suit for no reason at all today.
Yeah, I live in Florida.
Yeah.
I'm sweating right now, so it's like 90 degrees.
Yeah, this wig is really itchy. We suffer for our art, James.
Exactly.
I don't regret not bringing a costume of my own.
Yeah.
But yeah, I want to talk a little bit about horror games. Horror games, is that the right term?
Yeah.
I'm sorry, I'm so fucking tired. Yeah, okay. Let's talk about horror games, right? So we had the poll earlier asking people what they like from their horror games. What do you guys like from your horror games? Mitch, what do you like from your horror games?
I mean, weirdly enough, I think I like a good story in horror games. Like, I think, like Resident Evil, Outlast, even Evil Within. Like, I think some of my favorite horror games tend to have like really interesting, like messed up stories, because like the horror genre itself allows its writers and stuff to go into like, territory, and I don't necessarily want to say taboos, but like they can explore themes and concepts that like you might not necessarily be able to explore outside of the genre. Like you can attack certain themes and ideas, and I mean, if not, you can just tell a really fun or interesting sci-fi story, like a zombie virus or something. But it's like horror games aren't restrained by that same kind of leash as like other games are, where it's like they have more freedom to tell darker stories and to explore the world and turn ideas in different ways. And what I like in a good horror game is when it presents me with like a messed up seeming story and like a messed up situation, and it sort of makes me want to get to the bottom of it. In that sense, it's like, okay, I want to dig deeper, see what's at the heart of this, and either stop it or just succumb to its terrors, really.
Yeah, like it's a good point about the story, because obviously Bugsnax can't like address sexual abuse and rape and like drug use in their game.
I think
like, horror lets you do that. You can really get into serious themes.
You mentioned a few weeks ago, I mean, Heart of Darkness, Apocalypse Now, of all things, was an inspiration for Bugsnax. So I guess we'll see how that goes.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think like horror gives writers and stuff the freedom to tell, to like address more taboo topics and stuff, and like sort of weave them into their story. Like, I mean, it depends obviously if they do it well, but if it's done well, then it could have great,
you have any
like Silent Hill 2.
Silent Hill 2, yeah.
Silent
that's
Hill
the
2.
King of the horror stories. But
exactly. Like that's all I need to say. Like it addresses like mental health and all that sort of stuff in a way that no other type of story quite can.
Yeah.
Because like it has those themes and then pairs it with like horror imagery, and like the horror aspect just enhances it tenfold.
Oh, for sure.
Like without the horror, you can't have the impact.
Yeah, like because Silent Hill 2, for example.
Yeah.
So, like the beginning of the game starts off in a woods, like a misty woods, and you're by yourself, and you got to walk through this whole long woods, and nothing's in that woods. Like there's no monsters or anything, but there's a sense of loneliness, which is a major theme of the game, and horror can really convey those themes. Like when you walk into Silent Hill and it's covered in fog and you're by yourself completely, and you don't know what's around you. Like there's a fear of an unknown, because you venture into an apartment building and you go in a dark hallway. You can't see the monsters down the hallway, or you go in a room. And Resident Evil does this as well. Is when you get the door animation and you go in a room and you don't know what the hell's in that room, and you're always tense. This is what makes horror games really effective. Is when you're always on edge with atmosphere. Yeah, like Silent Hill.
Yeah, fear is the best way to allow the player to empathize with the character.
Yeah, exactly.
Like no other emotion, like fear, can really immediately hook a player. Yeah, and allow them to feel the same terror and emotions as the player character.
Yeah, because like like Resident Evil obviously relies more on jump scares generally, but like Silent Hill, a scare in Silent Hill is like we walk into a bathroom and you hear a lady crying in the stall, and you don't know where the hell that came from, and they never tell you what it came from, but you're like, oh my god, you jump because you don't. It's very subtle, and I this is what I love in horror games: is subtlety. I don't like in your face, and it's the same thing with movies. I don't like in your face jump scare, screaming monster, loud noises. I think that's very generic. When horror is subtlety, when you don't expect it and you're always on edge, thrills, like Hitchcock was a good example. That's when horror is like the best in my opinion. Like
one of the things I've really liked about recent horror in the last decade or so is those horror films that will subtly put things, or TV shows that will subtly put things in the background that's good for a rewatch, right? Like, you have stuff, and I know this is in the video game, but you have stuff like what's that, Mitch?
I was going to say, like, you mentioned stuff in the background, and like the first thing that came to my mind was Haunting of Hill House.
Yes, I was just going to say that. Yeah, and that's obviously not a horror video game, but I like that similar in horror video games when, like Seb said, they're subtle and they'll have stuff in the background or little Easter eggs that you might miss otherwise. I think that those add just a little bit of flair, a little bit of like, an extra care that's shown in the game that otherwise might not be there.
I'm a big fan of I'm not a big fan of horror games in general, but I've come in recent years to enjoy the ones that rely on building an atmosphere more. So stuff like Outlast, where you're getting just chased by some big scary dude. I'm not a big fan of that, but stuff where it's sort of slow and it sort of builds that tension, like Resident Evil 2 and Observation in like last year, are fantastic. I love those games. So
I will butt in and say with Outlast, like, I mean, I agree about the chasing things, but the soundtrack for Outlast, like at least the first one, is probably one of, if not the best horror game soundtracks I've ever listened to. Like, I definitely recommend like listening to some tracks and stuff, but like some of the stuff in there is incredible. Like outside of when you're being chased by like a monster or whatever, but it's like, I think like you have that scene near the end of the first one where you've got the priest who's burns himself on a cross alive, and the music that plays in that scene, and then you have like the main theme, and some of it's incredible. Like, it's incredible stuff, I will say. And I think it kind of goes to show how like I think some of those scenes, like it's more like bombastic operatic music, but it also like both like the bigger, louder stuff as well as like the softer like the hums and violin sort of chords can basically go to show how great a horror soundtrack can be.
Oh, of course. Like one of the best examples of a great soundtrack for horror games is Resident Evil 2, the original. Well, remake 2, but 2 more. The original more. Because it has like a really it really creates a, when you go in like the basement, you guys remember like in the remake and you go in the basement and these dogs break through the vents and stuff? Yeah. It's the same thing in the original, and like the soundtrack is so creepy. But one thing I loved about Resident Evil though is the safe room. Like when you go in a safe room, it's always relaxing and calm and very welcoming. And then you venture out and then it's creepy, atmospheric and
For sure. Like I think it's so good that the remake for 2 had, I mean, even though it was paid, had the option for you to switch to the old soundtrack.
Yeah, because
like even though the sound mixing wasn't even though the sound mixing wasn't as strong as that, and it kind of it didn't fit with the vision of remake itself. I think it walking into the RPD for the first time in remake and like hearing that music come on was just like it was tone set.
It was good, but it didn't match the original's police station theme for sure. Like I mean the soundtrack was good, but I didn't. The original one is just too iconic, and they didn't really remix any of the songs that much. So that was one of my disappointments with it, actually.
Yeah, but it's like, that's the thing. It's like, if you opt to have the original soundtrack in the remake, like walking in through the RPD for the first time is just like immediately, okay, I know where I am. I know what I'm supposed to feel. You know, like it's
we gotta do.
Yeah. And for the original, of course.
You gotta do a modern one anyway, because the original soundtrack sounds very 90s synth, like, you know.
Yeah.
So
especially some of the later tracks, yeah.
But that's
James mentions.
Go ahead.
Yeah, James mentions games like Outlast, right? And Amnesia and all that kind of, that's not really my kind of horror either. I don't really appreciate, or I can't say appreciate, but I can't, I find it harder to invest myself in games where I'm constantly on the run. I might eventually play Alien Isolation, for example, but the save system seems really brutal, and it sounds like it goes on for a while. So I'm hesitant to start that immediately. But I still appreciate those what they're trying to do. But I prefer to go start from the bottom and then get somewhere, not constantly be on the run throughout the whole game and never be able to shoot back.
I agree.
That is kind of frustrating, and that's a part of why I love RE7 so much. Is like, I think it has a really good mix of like that Amnesia, Outlast. I've got to run from these scary people because I don't have any weapons right now, but also, I found the shotgun. Now you're dead. Yeah. You know, but then, like, you know, oh no, I've run out of bullets. Now I'm dead. You know.
Yeah. But that's also why I don't love 7 as much as the Resident Evil 2 remake, because I do prefer, because Resident Evil always been an action focused survival horror franchise, because, you know, by the end of the game you always get a rocket launcher, a grenade launcher, a shotgun.
Sure.
So I did like the 7, the mansion moments, not the mansion, mansion in the 7, like when you're sneaking around. What's his name?
Jack.
It was great. Don't get me wrong, but it's not my. I don't like being helpless first. I don't like the first person helpless sneak around gameplay.
I don't mind that in short bursts. I only like that because you get rewarded for that. By getting good weapons and stuff.
Smart,
I know. I agree with you that I prefer. You know, I prefer the Resident Evil 4 stuff or Resident Evil 2 stuff. In terms of, like, you know, the action horror genre is more where I'm at, but I like that they took risks, because I think that Resident Evil is a series, when we're talking about gaming and about horror games, has to be talked about, has always reinvented itself, like every 3 games, right? Like 1, 2, and 3 are very different from 4, 5, and 6, which are in turn very different from 7 and probably 8.
Sometimes not for the best, though. Like, if you're playing Survivor or Dead Aim, like,
right.
Don't play those.
For sure, sometimes a swing and a miss, right? I'm a Kingdom Hearts fan. I know all about directors getting really cool ideas and then kind of fumbling them.
Being a Resident Evil fan can be pretty hard over the years, because there's been moments where they've been awful for a while and then great for a while. So
I think these remakes have been really good. But anyway.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah.
Capcom's finding its groove again.
Yes.
They found a good balance, I think. Like, don't get me wrong, Resident Evil 3 remake, I would have preferred if they had a little more in it. Like, they took a lot of sections out. That's me talking, because I'm very nostalgic for old school Resident Evil. So maybe you guys wouldn't pick up on that, because if you didn't play the original 3, you know what I mean? Like, that wouldn't be an issue to you guys, but it was an issue to me. Like, taking the clock tower section out and
I played the original. I played the original for 3, and I didn't really mind that they cut out the clock tower stuff, but I understood that was frustrating for some people, because I remembered that section, and I was like, damn, there's no clock tower at all, huh?
And, you know, and 3 had, like, the choice system where, like, you get different endings and stuff, different moments, and they took that completely out.
Yeah.
That's not my biggest issue with 3 was his nemesis was very staged. He was just like, he was a prop. Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah,
he wasn't like Mr. X, where you don't know where he is. It was always like it was always planned, you know, when he showed up.
I really liked him as a prop. I actually preferred that over him being as a moving set location, because man, he was scary as hell in that original game, and it was so frustrating to kill him or put him down, and then he would just constantly come back. Yeah. But I understand that's the thing about Resident Evil, and you know, I get that people prefer him to not be just a one-time action sequence.
Yeah, like,
but anyway,
I don't
games.
I don't want to go on a tangent, but like the best thing about the old school Nemesis was that he can open the doors. Like, you think you can go through a door and you escape, but he can like chase you, and then he jumps through windows and stuff.
I remember when we all thought that the new Nemesis could go through save rooms, and we were all really freaked out. And then the magazine was like, no, we were wrong. We misinterpreted. Sorry.
Now I'm curious what you got. I'm curious, like, Like, what was your like first like memories of like horror games? Like what was your like what was like the first game you think of when you as a kid that you got into?
I think it was RE2. Maybe, yeah, RE2, RE3, and then I think RE0. Horror games I played.
Mitch, what do you?
The RE remake, the first RE remake.
That
was
which is a fantastic.
I mean,
game.
Yeah. I mean, I've archived it now, but it's like I've got a recording of like because I live streamed a bunch of years back, like me playing RE remake for the first time. I had no idea anything like
that game. Yeah.
But it's, I think like now, obviously I do, but it's like I think like RE remake is a fantastic game.
Yeah.
Like it's
really scary.
That's the thing. I wouldn't call it. I mean, maybe it's just because like I've got different experiences and don't have that same nostalgia for it. But it's like I don't see it as scary as much as it is. Like there's certainly scary aspects to it, but it's like I'd still find like RE2 remake and RE7 scarier.
Well, what makes remake scary is if you don't burn the zombies, they wake up as Crimson Heads and they run faster and chase you through the whole hallway and stuff.
The Crimson Heads are for sure scary, but I mean, if you like me and just run past all of them.
And it's a hard game, I would say. Not as accessible as their newer games, yeah.
Honestly, I gotta say the scariest thing about the remake was Lisa, right? I mean, like, Jesus Christ, that was horrifying, and that was completely new.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
Very tragic
God,
story.
I don't remember a ton of things from when I was younger, but I remember going into that fight for the first time, and I'm like, oh my God, I'm just running. This thing is horrifying.
Yes, yeah, and it's a sad story. I would, like, if Netflix did it, that's what I would want to see in a Netflix series, is like her story, because that story is really, really emotional, so.
Well, and I mean, I guess it ties back into what I was saying earlier, but it's like, horror allows writers to go into more, like, darker stories and stuff. Like,
for sure.
If it wasn't a horror game, we wouldn't get something like Lisa Trevor's backstory.
Exactly. Now, James, what's your like first horror game? Like, you have first memories?
It depends what you class as a horror game, because it could be
a scary moment in any game.
It could be the PS2 classic Scooby-Doo Night of 100 Frights.
I love your obscure choices.
That was a great game. But I guess the first real horror game that I would have... I mean, I played like 5 minutes of Outlast. I played Outlast in a few chunks with friends and that sort of thing. So I guess probably Outlast. But the first horror game that I properly sat down and played all the way through was the Resident Evil 2 remake, I think. So I don't generally touch them. But yeah, I mean, like I said, like, I think Resident Evil 2 was where I sort of discovered that I'm capable of enjoying horror games. With that are sort of more geared toward tension than jump scares and that sort of thing. Because actually that's not true. I did play a couple of the Slender games, which is probably contributed to my disdain towards the genre.
Yeah, but
I didn't watch Mitch, by the way.
Yeah, Mitch is frozen in time.
In like a college photo.
Yeah,
James, like, do you think you could go back and play like a pre-rendered fixed camera angle, like tank control?
Well, I've gone back. I've tried playing the Resident Evil 1
original
remake. Is it a remake? Yeah.
Well, the remake or the original?
The one that's on PS4.
Oh, the remake, yeah.
Yeah, I've tried playing that.
That's not tank control. You can shut the tank controls off.
Right. Well.
Yeah.
I don't know.
I mean, like original Resident Evil 2, like 1997. Could you play those kind of games?
It would be it would be tough for me, but if it would be tough for me because of the controls. I reckon I could stomach the horror if I wanted to.
Yeah, that's why I'm asking, because the controls. Could you be able to do those? I'm glad.
Yeah.
Personally, it never bothered me to take controls, but like I'm used to it. You know, I can see.
Bugger.
Yeah.
My first moments of horror was the original Resident Evil in 1996. I used to watch my dad play. I was like 3 years old. My first scary moment I remember is when the dogs jumped through the window.
Yes.
In the original. Yep. That's iconic. I think PlayStation just put that on their Twitter page today. That's very iconic. But But I used to watch my dad play all the original Resident Evil games, and I was little, and I was afraid of zombies. But now, and then once I got like 10 years old, I started really playing horror games, and I beat all the games like 20 times. But
Yeah.
but like it's not even like horror games. Like you guys play Mario 64 when you go near the piano and it attacks you? You remember that?
I've seen that before. Yeah,
I don't remember that, but I say I do remember the getting scared, getting the fucking life scared out of me by a mimic in Dark Souls 3.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
Dark Souls, yeah. Now, like,
yeah.
I'll play one last thing. Like, can you guys think of any scary moments like in a non-horror game that like absolutely terrified you besides like a Dark Souls? Because that's kind of creepy in itself. Dark Souls. Like
I'd say the Batman Arkham games had quite a few horror moments.
It did, yeah, Scarecrow.
Yeah, with Scarecrow.
Yeah, like with Scarecrow, like what in like Arkham City especially, like it was subtle.
Yeah.
But like I mean, obviously you have like I'm sure you guys have like gone down to like the boat, the secret boat or whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then you see like, Scarecrow guy and all that. And but weirdly enough, like I think that like some of the music in Arkham City, like it had that really like it just builded dread, and it's like this is kind of like really creepy in itself.
Like,
yeah.
Like, I'm sure I don't know if you guys played Ocarina of Time, but like when you fall down the well,
oh, the redeads,
and the thing comes out of the ground and grabs you, that thing scared the shit out of me.
I think Majora has a lot of dark, creepy moments. I think those were some of my first moments because I played the Majora's Mask around when it came out in the late '90s.
Yeah,
so those were some of my first moments of real like, wow, like a video game is kind of scaring me right now. I never thought that could happen.
And it was subtle because the moon had a face and it was there the whole time, and you were timed.
Yeah,
because if you didn't you didn't finish the game by a certain amount of time, the world ends. You know, and you get that creepy cutscene. You know what? You know what funny things that scared me as a kid was like Banjo-Kazooie, like when the level with the giant shark. You know, do you know what I'm talking?
Yes, yeah, I know what you're talking about.
It catches you by surprise. Mario 64 with the giant eel, that was scary as hell. And then Banjo-Kazooie, if you died, you get the creepy cutscene like when you fail. Like, games back then, if you failed the game, they used to have like these extra cutscenes that would terrify you as a kid. Yeah. So.
Yeah. But you know what I really like? This is a horror game, but I think it's Resident Evil. I haven't played it. I think it's Resident Evil 2 or Resident Evil 3, the original, where it's like I really like how they sort of set up the loading screens as a sort of safe zone where nothing can happen. Like when you're going through the doorways.
Yeah.
You know? And then there's that one sort of famous moment where you're going through a doorway and all of a sudden a zombie comes through.
Yeah, the zombies in the animation.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yep.
I really like that. I haven't played the game, but I like that a lot.
Yeah.
And that just speaks to clever horror game design as well, where they sort of set up expectations and give you a false sense of security.
Absolutely.
Yeah. I think I think what was I had something else, but I think something else I had in mind is it's not a horror game per se, but like Spec Ops: The Line, it's got some pretty, I won't say terrifying imagery, but it's got like some haunting imagery. Like I think there's a scene where like all three of you guys are like rappelling down a glass building or whatever, and I think the person to your left, Lugo, like in his reflection is someone just hanging by a noose or whatever.
That's cool. Yeah, I mean that's
his like
yeah,
like sort of horror imagery in like a non-horror game to sort of like convey the like its themes about the horrors of war and whatnot. Yeah. Like it can be pretty powerful stuff. Like, as I said earlier, like fear can be a great empathizer.
Yeah, there's a lot of like great examples of like non-horror games that have a lot of scary moments. I did a list for a website one time. I would love to do a video here, but obviously a lot of it's not PlayStation. But yeah, like I said, subtlety.
Yeah,
is the key. Like
do it
right when you do it right. Like even Max Payne has a very scary moment. Even Halo has a very scary moment with the flood and stuff. So,
yeah. Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know. Do you know what, actually that reminds me, one of the first scary moments for me, and this is probably not going to do me any favors with the whole age thing, and but one of the first things that I remember one for the PS3 at least was Resistance: Fall of Man. They had like in the later levels, they had those big tall guys, and I can't remember what they're called, but you sort of went into the factory where the Chimera were made, and you were underground and everything. Yeah. And these tall guys were sort of just in there in these tubes, being like created or whatever, and they're just sitting there in these tubes, and then they start breaking out and they fucking sprint at you, and it's terrifying.
No, like, go ahead, Mitch.
Sorry, I was gonna say. I just remembered that. I just remembered what I was gonna say earlier. The Rat King from The Last of Us Part 2.
Yes,
I was right about to mention Last of Us.
Yeah, like I wouldn't necessarily call Last of Us a survival horror, but like the Rat King,
I would actually.
Was terrifying, as like it came out like it came out of nowhere.
Absolutely,
especially its design. Like I was expecting like a giant like Bloodborne-esque like bipedal creature or something, but no, it just came out like H.R. Geiger like mass of blob and stuff. Like
that's
it was
part of the game for me personally.
Yeah, like it was terrifying, but it was
very Resident Evil. That
like I said on the spoiler cast, that whole section with Abby, like the hospital and everything, was like one of the best Resident Evil games ever. You know what I mean? Like it was so well done.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
But we probably should start wrapping up. You guys like.
Definitely. Before Mitch's phone explodes. But...
so The Last of Us, I think we all agree. I think we all like the same kind of horror, like third person action. I think we can say that because we all love The Last of Us. And I would say that's a survival horror game because you got to collect ammo and items and stuff and files. Mm-hmm. And we all love the Resident Evil 2 and 3 remake or love. So.
I think The Last of Us Part 2, I think, does that thing the good horror games do really well of building atmosphere, and it leans into those traits. But we should wrap up before Mitch's phone explodes. The one thing I wanted to mention was, isn't Halloween supposed to be a scary holiday? None of your costumes are very scary. I mean, apart from yours, Mitch, that mask is hideous. You can take it off now, by the way.
Oh man!
Even my partner laughed, James. That was a winner right there. Even my partner in the background chuckled.
Great. Okay, I'll take it.
Spooderman, here we go. Spooderman.
No.
It's worse now, Mitch. It's worse.
Jesus, you made it so much worse. For audio listeners, Mitch has torn his face off.
Like a Power Rangers villain
everywhere. He's pulled a Joker from DC Comics.
Your nose is pointing at the mask. It's like a chicken. Like it kind of looks like a chicken.
Okay, I'm glad that's over. So
I know.
Next week, like I said earlier, we're going to have the big award show for the PlayStation 4 generation, which is going to be a lot of fun. I'm really looking forward to that. It's going to be.
We're all dressing up, right?
Yeah. It's going to be fancy. It's going to be, smart dress, suits and ties and dresses. It's going to be a lot of fun. We're going to have Marvel presenting the smaller awards. We're putting a lot of production value into it. It's going to be a lot of fun. In addition to that, Dory, you are working on a Resident Evil 7 related video, which should be up soonish in the next few days.
I'm going to be doing the voiceover, if not tonight, then early tomorrow, and I will be sending it to you. But yes, it'll be an article about what makes that first hour of Resident Evil 7 so special. And I just finished a blind playthrough of Resident Evil 7, playing it for the first time, so I wanted to write a feature about it and what makes playing horror video games specifically so scary compared to other media.
Yep,
for me.
Terrific. And Mitch, you are we're hopefully going to have your Death Stranding related thing up for the anniversary of that game, which will be on November 8th. Yeah.
Yes, I'm hoping to get that finished out sometime today, and because I mean, I don't want to spoil it necessarily, but I think Death Stranding is definitely a good thing to talk about and discuss on its anniversary, no doubt, and in relation to this shitfest of a year.
Yeah. Looking forward to that.
Look forward to that, yeah.
So it's going to be a good next week or two coming up. So look forward to that. Thanks for joining us once again, and we will see you next week for the special award show.
Happy Halloween.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Happy Halloween.
Happy Halloween.
Halloween.